Hello, fellow travelers through space and time. Thank you for joining me today. If this video found you, it's because maybe you've been someone who, in your own life, you find to be very misunderstood by other people. And you find it challenging to find those who understand you deeply, or at least who make you feel understood. Maybe you struggle to understand yourself sometimes. And it might be frustrating to see other people who just seem to understand each other and themselves, and they don't put a lot of deep thought. Maybe you look at these kind of people as like not that deep or complex, right? Um, or just not that strange or odd. Maybe you've been labeled as someone who's weird or strange or out there. And if this video is finding you, it can be either because you feel distressed by not being understood, or you're finally coming to terms with not needing to be understood. So if you are finally understanding for yourself that there is no need to really be understood by anyone other than yourself, then congratulations. And I'm glad that you're here to talk about it. And if you are distressed by this, then I invite you to join this conversation, and maybe you will find something from this video that is helpful to you. I think that there are many of us on this earth who are sent here on a very unique path, and it can be very far out of what people would consider the norm. And it might not fit in with what your family is used to, or your culture is used to, or what you were taught in school. Um, when you're on your own path, what other people think, not that it doesn't matter, because that just doesn't help. Because if you care, me telling you it doesn't matter isn't gonna stop you from caring still. But here's the thing, is that when you're here to do something innovative, when you're here to help others transcend, then what you do and how you do things is not going to make sense to them. And you can move into a place where being misunderstood almost becomes this badge of honor, but only when and if you understand yourself. So I think it's more important to understand yourself. Now, that part of it, I do think is important to understand yourself, although many of us struggle with learning how to understand ourselves. So, what do you do if you struggle to understand your own self? Well, there are things preventing you from understanding yourself if you don't currently. And what could those things be? Well, it could be a lot of different things. But to go and list a few, it could be addictions. It could be people around you who aren't in alignment with your purpose. It could be all kinds of distractions and entertainment, media that isn't really helping you, right? It could be video games. It could be binging Netflix. It could be processed foods that are altering your biochemistry and making it hard for you to focus, right? Uh, it could also be just not spending enough time with yourself. Because the key to understanding yourself on a deep, deep level, like understanding anything, right? If I wanted to learn a lot about biology, I would read a lot of biology books, and I would take classes, and I would, maybe find a teacher. But when you're learning about yourself, what do you need? Is anyone else going to be able to help you? Like, what can I really tell you about yourself, right? Is this video then becoming part of the distraction that's stopping you from more deeply understanding your own self? Maybe. But hopefully It's an invitation to spend more time with yourself, to go out into nature, to go take that walk on the beach, to go take that long drive, to maybe go on a vacation by yourself, right? Because if you have this codependent need to always be around someone, whether that be a coworker, a romantic partner, a family member, or a friend, these things will impede you from understanding yourself. And a lot of the frustration that you can find yourself towards other people, where it's like, man, they just don't understand me, could also just be a projection of your own not understanding of yourself. Because from my paradigm, if you fully understood yourself, you wouldn't really need others to understand you. So taking that time to be alone and deeply understanding your own self, to do that, you would see how many challenges arrive, and it would become very clear to you why so many people don't deeply understand their own selves. You would have empathy for those who didn't understand themselves, and people can only know you to the depth of which they know themselves. And same goes for you. So if you have a desire to get to know others on a deeper and deeper level, then this also just starts with you. But I think that those who are deeply misunderstood, that it's just a common theme in their life, they're here with a very unique and special purpose. Maybe they have very unique gifts. Think of people who are healers and people who are channelers, people who have some kind of art or insight to give into the world. They are going to be misunderstood by those because of the gift specifically that they have, because if others could understand that gift fully, then they would also possess that knowledge and those gifts, but they don't. So how can you expect them to understand you? But being upset, maybe not even with them, but just being upset in general about the fact that you feel that you are misunderstood and no one really gets you. Why are you upset? Is it because of a sense of loneliness? That could be reflected on. But then, really, is it you not being understood that has you upset? Or is it this sense of loneliness that has you upset? Because now, where the upset is coming from, right, has now shifted. It's not because other people don't get me. It's because I feel alone, because others don't understand me. Because then to feel like part of a community is to, I want to feel like I am understood by others. And that will make me feel less alone, right? So really the issue is with your own solitude, right? And then there'll be a resistance to that, to being alone, because you're trying to run from that loneliness, and you think that by other people understanding you, that you will become less alone through that process, right? Of someone else understanding you and validating your existence for you, right? Which causes you to spend less time alone and more time seeking others, and in seeking that through other people and spending more and more time outside of yourself, you are spending less and less time developing deeper and deeper self-discovery and understanding your own self. And here's the thing is that the more time you spend alone and the deeper you dive within yourself, the deeper the understanding of your own self that you have, you will almost feel even harder to understand, right? Because think of all the time you had to put in to understand yourself. And how is someone else going to put all that time into understanding you as well, if they have to put in an equivalent amount of time into themselves to understand their own selves? But it's a beautiful thing, and I feel that the sadness then truly isn't from being understood or not understood, because we're never going to understand every little thing about ourselves and people, and some things just aren't always logical. But spending time with ourselves, we can come to peace with those things. But that's not gonna happen overnight, because if you're someone who is constantly surrounded by other people and by different stimulus, and even when you're by yourself, here's another trap. If you're by yourself, but you're also, smoking and drinking and doing drugs and distracting yourself, like being alone, but watching Netflix all night, binging whatever TV show you like, that's not really spending time alone with yourself. I mean, go into nature and be alone with your own thoughts. But if that's not something you're used to, it might not be this pleasant, especially at first. But if this is something that's weighing on you and you're still this far in the video, then I can only imagine that it's something that your soul is calling you to do. And when you spend that time with yourself, even if at first it makes you uncomfortable, it will eventually get better. But you can't run away from it. So these fears, these anxieties, these things, the only way to get away from them is through, right? You can't keep running forever. What are you going to do? You're going to keep running forever? You already know that through other people, you're not going to get those answers you want. You're just going to feel more and more alone and more misunderstood. And you know what's worse than feeling alone when you're alone? Is feeling alone when you're with other people. Being in a room full of people and feeling even more alone than actually alone. So being alone is not actually that bad when you're truly with yourself. Because when you're with you, you are not truly alone unless you abandon yourself, right? And the only way that you're really going to hurt yourself is by abandoning yourself. This is the beginning of self-love. You got to be there for yourself every day. And you got to take time to be with yourself and ask yourself questions and deeply and more deeply understand yourself. Because if you think you completely understand all aspects of yourself, right? One, I haven't found that. I don't think anyone ever has, because what we are is infinite, right? But you learn to enjoy the process, and deepening and deepening and deepening and deepening that understanding will bring you peace and will bring you joy, and will also put you in alignment with your purpose, and will put you in alignment with that which is meant for you. But how can you even know what is meant for you and what aligns with you and what resonates with you when you don't know who you are, right? And instead of worrying about other people not understanding you, point the focus back in on yourself. And even if you think you understand yourself now, know that you can understand yourself even deeper. There's always another level. Also, because we're always changing. Who I was even a week ago is not the same guy that I am today. And it's not the same person I will be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. Which means that even if I had a full understanding of myself right now, tomorrow I could wake up and something could be different. Not only could it be, it will. And I get to learn about who I am every day. And that's a blessing. I thank you guys for being here with me. And I wish you all the luck in the world on your journey of self-discovery. And I'm glad I could play a role in this journey with you. I'm so happy to share with you. And I am rooting for you over here. So please stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed, and stay connected. I love you. Peace out.